All right, today we're working on CJ's Beta. If you happen to see his video from the SECA race at Perry Mountain, he had a little mishap and kind of hit a tree and broke his headlight number plate here.
Good.
But more importantly, it broke the mount that holds the multimeter on the little speedometer deal. But the problem was he lost his electric start. He had to roll this thing off. We brought it home and started diagnosing, and you basically try to figure out what's not wrong. And what I determined was, after we downloaded the wiring schematic, I tested the switch. We had continuity there, so we know that the switch is not bad. Tested the starter solenoid by just taking a screwdriver and jumping the terminals, and the electric starter motor itself worked. Went to check the continuity from the switch back to the solenoid, and I had none. So the problem is somewhere in the wiring harness. Looking at the wiring harness, there is a 6-pin connector somewhere in this thing that has a jumper in it that provides the ground to the starter switch. I looked everywhere, couldn't find this connector. I had this bike stripped completely down. There was nowhere to be found. In the main harness under the headlight area here, there was a section that's actually shrink wrapped, and in that section was this connector. Well, there's the 6-pin connector I was looking for. This thing is hidden. Apparently on another model, maybe this is an ignition switch plug. I'm not really sure. I'm not crazy about the plugs that they use on this thing. It's more computer oriented than dirt bike oriented. But this plug was broken, and the reason it broke is from the looking at the shrink wrap that was on there. This thing was behind here, and it was pinched. I'm guessing that was from the factory. Maybe it's an assembly issue. I don't know. But when he hit that tree, it broke this connector, and he lost the electric starter. So what I'm going to do is eliminate this plug altogether. I'm just going to take this plug, cut it out of the harness. I'm going to take the 2 wires that this jumper makes here, and I'm going to solder and shrink wrap those things together, and that will just eliminate this. I'll re-shrink wrap all this in place to where it'll all be safe and dry. And we'll put it all back together, and we should be good to go. All right, I've got the camera set up on what we're going to be doing. I've already removed this 3-prong connector right here, so it'll make it easier to put the shrink wrap over this when we get done. This is the connector that was broken. This was glued together from the factory. I don't know if you can see that right there. But these top 2 wires are the 2 that we want to solder and shrink wrap, which will bypass this little chintzy plug. So first thing we're going to do is clip this connector off. We don't need it. We'll take our wire strippers, we'll twist the wires together just a little bit. And we're going to tin these wires where it make it a little easier to solder them together. We'll cut a piece of shrink wrap that'll cover this up nicely once we're done. All right, that's soldered together, and see if we got a starter. And it works. All right. We'll solder that a little tighter. All right, we'll put the shrink wrap over our new joint. And we've got a piece of larger shrink wrap to go over this whole assembly. Similar to the way it was from the factory, except there's no plug to break. And it works. Now we'll just put everything back together, and the electric starter on the Beta is fixed. All right, I've got the new bracket back in place. Took some dielectric grease and squirted down in all the holes here to keep away some corrosion and keep the water out. Now all we have to do is plug everything back up. All right, next we're going to reinstall the 3-pin connector. I made a diagram of it before I took it apart so I remember how it goes together. This particular connector, the light blue wire is on one side, the black in the middle, and the pink on the other side. I found that it's a lot easier just to stick them all three in at one time because they're kind of long. Take our little tool here, push them into the click. I always like to come inside and press on them again, make sure they're there. And we're good. Next thing we'll do is take off the broken mat bracket here, bolt this on in place, and put the headlight back in, and we should be good to go. All right, as you can see, we've got the headlight back on. Everything's back in place. Everything's tightened up. We're good to go, and we got a starter button. Everything works. If you like this video, please click on that button. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and look forward to some more videos on how to do stuff in the shop. Thanks.